And then I was thinking about my father and my mother as well. And I could not speak at that time because there was a tube in my neck that was breathing for me. So I asked for a pen and a paper from the nurse, and I wrote to many doctors. I did it a lot of times, and I wrote to them, where is my father and my mother? And so they told me that your father is safe, and he will come soon as possible. And the second question that was really important for me, and about which I was thinking, that who will pay for me? Because I don't have money. And I also knew that my father is running a school, but the buildings of the schools are on rent, the home is on rent, and he cannot sell his school. So that's simple. And then I thought, like, okay, so your father has a land in a village. He can sell it. But I said, it is just a very few amount of money. Then I was thinking he might be asking people for loan. So that's why I thought that, that is why I thought that my father wasn't in Birmingham. I didn't know in detail what was happening there in Birmingham. I didn't even know that my father knows Malala was shot. I thought that someone shot me. I was lying on the roadside, and then the doctor whom I saw for the first time in the hospital, I thought that that doctor has just put me in on a seat in an aeroplane, and then he just brought me to Birmingham. I didn't know that the whole world was praying for me and are still praying for me. They are supporting me. And now I believe that when people pray to God for life, God gives. God is really honest. God listens to his people's voice. So,
what do you think it is about you that caused the whole world to pray for you, and the whole world to light candles when you were wounded, and the whole world to wish for you to be here today?
I think I must ask the whole world that why did they pray for me?
Interesting.
The first thing is that it shows humanity, it shows love. It shows friendship, and it shows harmony, because not only the people of Pakistan, not only Muslims, not only Pashtuns, but everyone prayed for me. It did not matter what religion they had. If they were Christians, they were Jews, they did not even have religion, but they prayed for me, and they prayed for my new life.
Do you think, though, that it was not just because you're a lovely girl, but because you had a fundamental mission, and that you spoke out about it in the most unusual way? What was it that you were thinking before all of this? What was your life about in terms of education, in terms of being prepared to defy the very violent opposition that you were facing?
At that time, when we were facing terrorism in Swat, and especially in 2009, the radio mullah, which we call him, he announced on radio that from the 15th of January 2009, no girl is allowed to go to school.
No girls to school.
No girl is allowed to go to school. And if she goes, then you know what we can do. So that was his threat. What they did, they used to flog girls, they used to flog women. They also slaughtered people in the squares of Mingora. They treated people like animals. Usually, on Big Eid, we celebrate 2 Eid in a year. On Big Eid, they say that usually we slaughter animals with 4 legs. But this time we are going to slaughter animals, calling human beings, with 2 legs. And they did bomb blasts in mosques. They did not even respect the mosques. At that time, they blasted more than 400 schools. And in the whole province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they have blasted 1,500 schools. Now you can imagine how much education is affected in Pakistan and in Swat. At that time, I did not want to be silent, because I had to live in that situation forever. And it was a better idea, because otherwise they were going to kill us. So it was a better idea to speak and then be killed. So I said, I'll speak up for my rights. I learned from my father. I learned from some other people who were speaking at that time. And I said that even though I'm a small child, my voice would not have that much power. It would not be that much strong. It would be immature kind of voice, but I will speak. And there are different ways that you can speak through. through interviews, through writing articles in newspapers, through writing blog. And media at that time played a vital role because the world was not aware what was happening in Swat. We spoke, we raised our voice, media transported our voice, and the whole world were listening to it. And that is why you can see that Swat is now a peaceful place. And I invite all of you to go there. There is no terrorism, I can make sure.
Ziauddin, let me ask you a difficult question. This was your teenage daughter. She was really a young girl.
Yeah.
And she's just described this enormous public profile that she had, that she spoke. It's so unusual for girls or anybody to defy the Taliban, most particularly girls, in that manner. And you encouraged her.
Yes, of course.
Do you feel any remorse, any regret, any wish that you hadn't made her so public and such a big target?
No, never. Two things are there. Number one, we saw the hardest and the blackest chapter of our known history in Swat and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And we are still facing a kind of, let me allow and use this word, a kind of Holocaust of our people. So sometime it was mandatory for the member of the parliaments, for the notable leaders, that they should have talked. But majority of them have been, some of them have been killed, some have been, they were afraid to talk, some left the area. So extraordinary situation. You see, nature abhors vacuum. Extraordinary situations create extraordinary characters. And you cannot look in such circumstances always towards the MPs, towards the government, towards the army. And I think I should not be repenting. The government, the then government of MMA should be repenting.
The government, you say, should have done the job.
They should repent. They could not protect 400 schools in Swat. They should be repenting that they could not protect the girls to be flogged. They could not protect the infrastructure of Swat to be saved. And they could not protect the men to be slaughtered in the squares. Why should I repent? And remember, I am a Pashtun Pakistani. I can never compromise on freedom. My approach is, and my daughter may share it with me, my thinking is, it is very difficult when you think that your whole generation is going into slavery forever. When you think that your whole generation for the next life, they will have no school. For your ladies, they won't be able to go to the markets. And your freedom of expression will be chosen from you. And next time, your beard may be measured. I think better to die than to live in such a situation. I think that better to live for one day to speak for your right and then to live for 100 years in such a slavery. I will never put my neck into the yoke of slavery and never let my people and my nation yoke into the yoke of slavery. That's it.
Did you ever, in your wildest nightmares, you knew the threats, you heard about it, you just described what you'd seen them do around your village. Did you ever think that they would go after your daughter, a kid? It hadn't happened before.
I think when she was writing the blog, she was volunteered herself for the documentary of New York Times. In those days, we were not thinking that, to be honest, because they had blasted some 1,500 schools in KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Fatah, but they never injured a child. They never killed a teacher in those militancy. But when she was speaking for the education, and she was condemning the blast of schools. You blast my school, and you will say, don't condemn it. It's very difficult. You kill my people and say, don't say anything. Let me kill them. This is very unjust, unfair. So, in those days, we had to speak and we had to raise our voice, and it worked.
Did you ever have a premonition? Did you ever feel that you were in danger?
Actually, I was worried about my father because I was not expecting Taliban to come for me.
Yeah.
I thought that they might have a little bit manners, and the behavior would be somehow they would be like humans. So that's why I was not expecting them to come for me. But then later on, when I was 14 and then 15, I thought I'm just growing up. And then I could also see threats on the internet. And then at that time, I used to think, Malala, if a Talib comes, what would you do? I usually prepare myself. I don't say, like, I'm going to stop this campaign and no more speak. I said, okay, if he comes, then what are you going to do? Plan that. So I used to think that if you, like, I was thinking, having a picture in my mind, I'm going back home and a Talib comes and he has a gun and he wants to shoot me. So I said that, first I thought that I would just take my shoes and hit him. But then I said, if I hit him with a shoe, and if I become cruel to him, it means that there is no difference between me and that Talib. He's also choosing a harsh way for his goal, so I shall not use that harsh way. Then I said, Malala, speak to him what you have in your heart. Speak to him that you even want education for their children. You even want to have peace for their family as well, because we never thought about their families, how would their wives would be feeling, how their daughters would be feeling, how their mothers would be feeling, how hard it would be for them. Because when they leave home, when they go for their own made jihad, how the feelings of their mother would be. Because they say that we are going to fight for Islam. So I think we also must think about them. And that's why I want to tell Taliban that be peaceful, and the real jihad is to fight through pens and to fight through your words. Do that jihad, and that's the jihad that I'm doing. I'm fighting for my rights, for the right of every girl. This jihad is through pens and through books.
And you're not going to give up?
No, never. I'm never going to give up. People would think that they can kill me again.
And they've threatened, Malala. They've threatened you again.
They have just reminded me. It's a reminder on the calendar. The thing is, they can kill me. They can only kill Malala. But it does not mean that they can kill my cause as well. My cause of education, my cause of peace, and my cause of human rights, my cause of equality will still be surviving. They cannot kill my cause.
You've talked a lot about family, your family, their families, how you wish they would understand that all of this is good for their own families as well. Let me ask you about your own mother, your wife. Here you are, very forward-leaning, very progressive, but your wife, you courted her with love poems when she couldn't read. She had not had the benefit of education. She grew up illiterate, right?
Yes, but she can read her mother tongue.
She can?
Yeah,
okay.
She can't read English and Urdu.
Okay, so she did know how to read.
She can read her mother tongue, and I used to write poems. Sure.
Why are you laughing? You don't want to share those poems?
Okay. Thank you.
And a father must not share it in front of his daughter, because the daughters learn from parents.
Well, that would be a good thing to learn now. But Malala, your mother kept purdah. She was very modest. She wore the full burqa all the time. She